Right now we're going to talk about multiplying capital by leveraging assets. Now this is not realtor talk, right? What we're usually talking about is leads and past clients and how to convert and all that stuff. This session here, multiplying capital by leveraging assets, is the key to success for really any business, but particularly for real estate agents. So I want you to think about the term here, multiply capital. So I don't care if you have $1,000 in your bank account and that's all you have to your name. Your sole purpose is to multiply that. It's not to use it for bills. It's not to use it for marketing and then that's gone. It's not to pay off whatever you owe the office. That's not what it's for. Your purpose is, how do I make this $1,000, $10,000? That's the sole purpose of your entire real estate business. So while you're really good at showing homes and writing contracts and negotiating deals and doing the home inspection, the whole purpose of that is to take this capital and multiply it. That's every single business's goal. So what I want to talk to you about is how we make that happen by leveraging our assets. What's the number one asset that we have? Your time, knowledge, money. For us, marketing assets. Your marketing assets are the most valuable thing you have. As an example, we were talking about Jan. Jan must have had too much wine last night at the party. She'll be here. But we were talking about Jan. She has a expired campaign that I put together for her that has generated over $200,000 in actual cash, like revenue. That is a marketing asset that if she would even deploy it more, what she does, she has to turn it off every once in a while. I got too much business, too many appointments, I need to stop sending them for a little while and then turn it back on. That is the most valuable thing she has. Now, if you can get yourself 2 or 3 or 4 marketing assets, life starts to get really, really good. So I've never found one investment in the world that beats marketing, ever. I don't own rental real estate. I own very few stocks, and the only reason I own the stocks is because I'm interested in the companies, Disney and things like that. So I do not invest in other things. Now, I do have horrible investments that eat hay and grain and all that stuff, but my investing is our marketing. It is the best investment you'll ever find. So again, if you look at Warren Buffett, he's considered the genius of investing, and he gets about a 13% return per year. We can get a 4,000, 5,000% return monthly. Monthly. I go to the bank and I see they're offering a 1% interest rate. You leave it in there for the whole year and you get 1% back. I've never found anything that beats marketing. So I want you to remember that statement that I've said over and over and over. The fastest way to wealth is to learn how to turn advertising into profit. And I have people ask me all the time in all the other industries, when I'm at the racetrack, hey man, what's the big secret to getting rich? The fastest way to wealth is to learn how to turn advertising into profit. If you get that, you can become wealthy literally overnight, like at least over the next month or 2. If you can turn advertising into profit. If you get that, particularly as a real estate agent, where we're making $8,000, $10,000, $15,000 per transaction, you can get rich very, very quickly. So a sales letter can truly be worth $150,000 a year for your business. One letter. So like if you contacted me and you said, Greg, I want you to write a sales letter for me. I know you're good at sales copy. I want it to be towards waterfront properties. I want it to be towards golf course community, whatever it is. And I told you that it costs $6,000 or $10,000 for that letter or follow-up campaign or whatever it is, you'd probably freak out. But if I told you, well, give me 40% of what you bring in, now you're paying me $80,000 to do that. If it's bringing in a couple $100,000 for you. So your problem is not your expenses, your problem is your income. If you will fix your income, expenses will no longer be your issue, right? So a sales letter, a postcard campaign, a Facebook marketing agenda that we put together may be worth over $150,000 a year to you. There's no investment I've ever found that's better than that. So imagine you have 4 of these. So let's say you have an expired campaign. You guys are all familiar with all the agents doing that FSBO approach. It's simple 3 questions. They ask you to come out. They ask you to list the house. If you have that campaign going, that's $150,000 or $200,000 a year. Imagine you have 3 or 4 of these assets that are working for you. Now business is good because all you've got to do is deploy and track. That's the only thing you have to do. Those systems work. You're not learning new stuff. You're not trying new stuff. You're not creating new stuff. You're not watching new stuff. You're not reading new stuff. I've got these 4 marketing assets, and all I've got to do is deploy them month after month after month, and I get the exact same results every single time. So a sequence can be worth even more. So there's a difference between like a sales letter and an actual marketing sequence or multi-step, multimedia approach, as you guys have seen more doing with Facebook marketing, combining online with offline and all of that. Okay, so here's your goal as an agent. This is your number 1 goal. Our main goal is to multiply capital. See, every single agent in this room, if I asked you this morning, what's your main goal? Get closings. All right? Sell houses. Your goal is not to sell houses. Your goal is to multiply capital. If you have $70,000 in the bank, how quickly can we get to $700,000? If you have $1,500 in the bank, how quickly can we get it to $15,000? That's your sole purpose. We do it through the vehicle called real estate sales. We do it through the vehicle called marketing assets that we can deploy and track to generate revenue. So your main goal is to multiply capital. To think you are trying to do anything else is asinine. It's absolutely going nowhere. Your job is not to sell houses. We talked about that yesterday where you get in that grind. I just need 5 deals next month. I just need 5 deals next month. No, you need a system that predictably gets 5 deals every single month so you can stop that crazy hustle, let that thing work to generate 5 deals a month, and then let's get the next marketing asset in place that gets 2 or 3 deals every month. And get that thing working systematically and forget about that. Now we're at 7 or 8 deals. Let's get the next marketing campaign together. Do you guys follow that? Does that sound like a much more organized way to run our business? Yeah. Right? So our goal is to simply multiply that capital. You're simply taking whatever capital you have right now, and again, I don't care if it's $500. You're taking that capital that you have right now and multiplying that as best as possible. So I've had agents that say, man, I only have $500. I've had agents that say, I have $0. Good. Which approach are we going with if we have $0? FISBO approach, right? Call them, ask 3 questions, and they beg you to come meet them. And how unbelievable does that sound to the typical agent until they do it, until they realize how well it works. And you know it works, you just don't do it systematically over and over. You're not deploying it. Okay? So you're simply taking whatever capital you have, and you're saying, okay, I want to try to multiply that. I want to try and get to a much higher number. You can best do that by deploying marketing assets which allow you to send out $1,000 and bring back $10,000. Frankly, if you put out $1,000 and it only brought back $5,000, is that a good deal? Yeah. See, most agents would say, oh my God, he spent $1,000 on marketing to get that deal. Well, if my brother was moving to your town, you would have paid a 25% referral fee if I had him work with you. So you get $10,000, you would have paid $2,500. A lot of people would pay a 30% referral fee, sometimes more. So if you can put out $1,000 and get back $10,000, now life is good. And I've showed you guys before, I honestly look at my system as a pizza machine. You guys familiar with the pizza cooking machine? Right? It's got the little chain that pulls the pizza through. I literally look at it this way. I'm going to put $1,000 in this side, and it slowly starts pulling it through. And I run over here, and I wait a few minutes, and $10,000 comes out. Is that a cool system? So now all you're trying to do is put more $1,000 bills through, and then how can I speed it up where it still cooks properly? You don't want them coming out wrong. You don't want $1,000 coming to $1,200, right? But it has to be cooked properly, and how fast can I feed those things through? I want to get it working well enough that it's spitting them across the room, that it's going that fast. If you look at your marketing that way, you think a lot differently. We talked about yesterday, you think a lot differently about you having $5,000 in your bank account. That's the deadest place you can have $5,000, because all you're going to do is use it up. Something's going to come up, you're going to use it up. It's absolutely no use to you. Cash is of no use to you. I want that $5,000. How can I turn this into 50 grand? How can I get it out there, send it out there to bring back $50,000? Let me put it in the pizza machine, in the oven. Okay? So when you start to look at it that way, and you track those numbers, I'm telling you, there are cases where, and Derek will probably mention it today, like we'll spend $4,000 a week on Facebook, and if we get back $7,000, great deal. Where'd you have your $4,000 last week? You see what I mean? Put it in a CD to save it for a rainy day. Put it in an IRA, like see how that works out. We turned 4,000 into 7,000 last week. This week we turned 7,000 into 14,000. This is if we're having horrible results. Good results are you put $3,000 out and 30,000 comes back. So that's if we're talking about an actual home sale, right? If we get a client that's ready to sell right now. If you spend $1,000, you can send an awful lot of marketing out, particularly on Facebook. $100 a day for 10 days, tell me you can't get a closing. $100 a day for 10 days, you would have 3, 4, 5, 6 closings utilizing our marketing approach. And you see the agents that are spending $10 a day, not $100 a day, $10 a day, generating 15, 20 leads off of that. $1.50, $2 a lead. So our sole purpose here is how do I take that $1,000, turn it into $10,000? I quite literally look at cash as something I must get rid of immediately. That was a big change for me because when you come from the savings, for me, and I know a lot of you are the same way, you probably grew up in a household where you didn't talk a lot about money. The only time you talked about money was the lack of it. No, you can't have that. We don't have the money right now. No, you don't have that. Okay, what kind of money do you make? Oh, we don't talk about that. What kind of income? How much is your check? Oh, we don't talk about that. We only talk about when we don't have money, not when we do have money. Anybody else kind of grow up like that? Money was a thing you don't talk about? Man, my kids knew from the very start, like, this is how money works. This is how you multiply your assets. We're going to be comfortable talking about money. That job right there, that pays $32,000 a year. You don't want to do that. That job there pays $60,000 a year. You don't want to do that. We talk about money. I was talking to somebody the other day that worked at a tanning salon, making $10 an hour. She's like, well, I've got that hustle, I've got that motivation, I'm going to be the manager, so I'm better than that manager. So I'm just, every time the boss is here, I'm doing something really special and showing that I've got management material and, I want to get to that management level. And she ended up doing that for 1.5 years. And then she got kind of close with that manager, talking to the manager, and she's like, well, I only make $10, and I think eventually if I ever become manager, and he was like, I make $10.50. The manager, this is a Palm Beach tanning, the manager makes $10.50 an hour. She's like, holy crap, I guess I never checked to see how much I would get. You have to be comfortable talking about money. Everything in your real estate business is money. That's what it is. What's going out, what's coming in. Now, we got to do a great job for our families. We got to help them with finding the best home. That's I've used the example, if you're a plumber, you don't get paid for being really good at fixing leaky pipes. You get paid for being a really good marketer. You can have anybody go fix the leaky pipes. Do you guys agree? Right? So that's what we have to do to make the money. But if you're a plumber, you're going to make a lot more money as the marketer than you are as the fixer, as the guy that goes out that does the work. So the same is true for us in our business. We have 2 jobs, marketing and sales. You will make a lot more money as the marketing person than you will as the salesperson if you own the company. You are much better off to send a monkey out there to do the appointments. They got to be trained right, they got to know what they're doing, but you are a marketing specialist, and if you get that part right, you can have your agenda as full as you want it to be. So if I have $6,000 sitting in a bank account, it drives me nuts trying to figure out how quickly I can get rid of it, sending it out there to work for me and bring back $60,000. Now sometimes it doesn't work, it only works half, and $6,000 turns into $30,000. How many of you say $30,000 is more than $6,000? Raise your hand. You can check on your calculator. I'll stop if you need to. But I'm not upset when I get half the results that I wanted to, and $6,000 turns into $30,000. Okay? Now, you don't start that big. You start with $60 and scale up. Right? So I've shown you guys what you can do for $5 a day, and then eventually scale up to where it makes sense. So don't throw it out there hoping your marketing works. It's not a marketing asset yet, it's a marketing hope. Once it becomes a true asset, valuable to your business, that's where we can expand that up. So, when you sit down and focus on your business that way, life becomes much easier. When you start thinking about, here's what I need to do, here's the money that I have available, and the marketing assets that will allow that money to multiply. Okay? So you have money sitting here on the left side of your desk, and you have 2 or 3 marketing assets here that you say, which of these am I going to choose to send out there with this money to bring back a whole lot more money? What do I need right now? You guys follow that? That's how you need to think about your real estate business. My entire marketing campaign is nothing more than a math problem. So the way I look at it, if it makes a profit, I scale it up as much as I can. If I can make a profit on $500 invested, I see how quickly I can scale that up to $5,000 invested. So, going to kind of the basics that everybody will understand here, if you do a EDDM campaign, which, by the way, yes, everybody knows what mail is, but it's the message on the card that matters. Do you guys agree you could send 50,000 postcards and get nothing? Or you could send 20 postcards and get 2 closings. It's the message on the card. You could spend $100,000 on radio ads and get nothing, or you could spend $100 on 1 radio ad and get a closing. It depends on the message, not the media. Don't think that postcards don't work. EDDM doesn't work. Facebook doesn't work. Television, radio doesn't work. It all works. Your message is with a marketing asset is what's going to turn it into money or not. So if I can get something to work in a $500 test, again, going back to, let's say I send out a small EDDM campaign, I spend $500. If that works, okay, let's try it with 2,000. I don't care because I just made $5,000 on the 500. So let me spend $2,000 of the house money to see if it scales up. Oh, we got $15,000 out of that. Okay, let me use another $3,000 of the house money to see if I can scale it up to $5,000, $3,000, $5,000, $10,000. How big can I go with this? But I'm certainly not going to say, well, I spent $820 and I got a closing off of it. That stuff at Greg's really works. I might spend $820 again next month. Dude, you still just got 1 closing. You know you have to retire sometime. Don't just keep doing the same little thing that's working a little bit. You have to retire sometime. If you make $200,000 this year, you did not make enough as a real estate agent. That is not enough. So you should always look at your business this way. You should always look at it as I need to multiply that capital by leveraging assets. It's certainly not about spending more money. I don't want you guys to get that message here. This is not about spending more money. So I'm not saying, hey, if you're not spending money on marketing, you should spend money every month. No, you should not. You should test marketing assets that you've created, we've created, I've done customized for you, whatever it is. Test it out. Find those that are working extremely well and start to scale it. Don't go crazy. Don't go $5,000 with it. Start to scale it accordingly so that you do get where you need to be. This is about utilizing the money to deploy the marketing assets that create such big results. To be clear, if your blueprint sucks, doing it more often won't help. So I've often had a contention with a few agents that I know you're proud of your work ethic and you work morning, noon, and night, but that may be what's hurting you. Because I've seen, I told you guys I look at the world differently a lot of times. When I was a little kid, I sat there trying to figure out why that freaking fly keeps hitting the window over and over and over and over and trying over. He's bashing his head on the window to get out and the freaking door is open. You can't try harder. How long is he going to do that? Until he freaking dies in the windowsill. Your work ethic, doing the wrong thing, is doing the exact same equivalent when the freaking door is open right there. Try a different approach. Stop beating your head the exact same way every time. Look for a different route. This one is not going to work. So working 70 hours, working 80 hours, missing the family function, not going to dinner, letting your spouse down, whatever it is, that's not going to help you by trying to make your work ethic through sheer brute force make enough money for you to survive. That's not why you got in the business anyway. You all got in the business for one reason. It wasn't for money. It was for freedom. Does everybody agree with that? You got in the business for freedom. So if you're going about it the wrong way, but you have a great work ethic, unfortunately that allows you to just get by. Maybe we need to get rid of that work ethic to do something more efficient that will get you the kind of results that you need. So if your blueprint's no good, doesn't matter how hard you work. Throwing money at it's not going to help. Signing up for another program won't help. Another website or a software or a technology or a lead source. All of the stuff that's thrown at us every day. What do you get, 150 emails a day? Right? One of the best things you can ever do, by the way, is stop deleting those emails. Open them and unsubscribe. If you can get control of your email box again, you can get control of your own mind. Because I'm telling you, it's controlling your thought process. It's controlling what you think every day. That's the strychnine in your coffee that we talked about yesterday. Because it's taking your focus. Hey, look at this shiny object over here. Hey, check out this shiny object over here. You have to unsubscribe. You know, I've had the exact same email address for 19 years. I don't get 3 of those emails every day. Because I have a habit, I have it on my agenda every single Friday morning, I'm going to unsubscribe from 20. You do that for a while, 20? You do that for a little while, you have control of your email box. The only people getting in are the people who want. You don't need to open a new email account. I've had the same one for 19 years. But you have to unsubscribe from that stuff. So, buying another website, or trying this new thing, or trying to reinvent the wheel, or looking at this new shiny object, or here's a really new cool spin on how real estate's going to work now. Well, how did the last 70 billion houses sell? This was just invented yesterday. There's so many programs available, so many marketing assets that you can use, that you own, that you control, that's not going to be changed because of fair housing rules that Facebook wants to change. Right? That's the craziest thing in the world, that orthodontists aren't allowed to show before and after pictures because when they show crooked teeth, it makes people feel uncomfortable. Yeah, that's what we're trying to do. We can help them, right? I want to be able to say, hey, do you feel that your house is too small for you? Are your kids sharing a bedroom? Oh, that'll make them feel bad about themselves. You can't do it. That's how I sell them a bigger house, because their current house doesn't fit anymore. But if you own the marketing assets where it can't be controlled by anything, because of course we are legal, moral, and ethical. So as long as we have that, we don't have to worry about the latest technology change or somebody that was offended by something they saw from 9 years ago or whatever. We just deploy our stuff, we track it, and we make money every single month. So create a profitable blueprint. And we're going to talk about that when we talk a little bit later today about, getting a 45-day hustle together. But if you create a profitable blueprint, I've got several of you that have been to a full-day consult with me at my house. I know Andrew just booked another one where we're starting new luxury marketing for him. We get an entire blueprint together, like here's what we need to launch. Now, you've got to do what I tell you to do. Me giving you advice, if the doctor tells you to work out and you don't work out, trust me, you're not losing weight. So you have to actually implement what we talk about. Don't say, well, I'm going to try this workout routine instead. Well, I'm going to try this instead. Maybe I can do it a cheaper route, less time, less people, whatever. You have to follow the prescription. But if you get a blueprint together, then model that, build that model over and over, much like you would a house. If you build a blueprint for a house, you can build it on this lot. You can go 3 houses down, build another one here. You can go 5 houses down, build another one here. You can build the exact same model over and over. So if we can get your blueprint working, you can do that month after month, go bigger. We talked about with Jan yesterday, if it's working that daggone well in Palm Beach, why don't we go to Miami? What about Sarasota? What about Fort Myers? What about Tampa? What about Orlando? You can get to all those places and you can hire a monkey to go on the appointments. The key is, how do we get those calls? You're awesome on the calls. They call you and beg you to come out. You can say, I'm sending Tanya from Sarasota. Right? That's all you got to do. So if your marketing asset is working, how can we deploy and track and then scale it up as big as possible? If you have hit critical mass in your marketplace, which I think the approach she's using now, Jan can probably get $250,000 a year from Palm Beach from that one letter, that one expired letter, which by the way is a half of 1 page. I think she can get $250,000 a year. You want to make more money from that asset, you need to go to another marketplace and get $250,000 from there. There's a lot bigger and better marketplaces than where she's selling as well. So build the blueprint, find a marketing asset that works, and then continue expanding that as best as possible. Build it over and over again, much like you would a house. I often take on copywriting projects for an agent that just needs a really strong sales letter and an individual niche. So there's a real good chance that if I get together with Andrew, and by the way, full disclosure, as I say all the time, if you guys are coming to a blueprint day, I'm probably going to sell you something, because you probably need something. What you don't need is me to talk to you, and then you go back and deploy the same crap you've been doing, because guess what? You'll get the same results. I make you feel better, I can motivate you, but I didn't give you anything tangible that you can actually utilize. So when he comes out for luxury, there's a really good chance, we've already kind of semi-discussed, a $120,000 project. Now, it seems like a lot of money, but to make an extra couple $1 million a year and then sell it for 10 or 12 mil, I think it's okay. I should get a royalty. How many of you think I should get a royalty on that? Right? Yeah, Andrew's like, hell yeah, I'll take it, man. I'll even take you for a ride on my boat on the 4th of July when there's no ice. Right? So I do take those on, and sometimes they just need a sales letter. It may be their luxury market, golf course properties, waterfront homes, obviously the simple ones, FSBO, expired, that type of thing, or any other individual niche. When you have a magic sales letter or a complete sequence, all you have to do is deploy it for profit. That's all you have to do. If you send it out, you get profit. Period. Now, the system has to work. It has to be done correctly. You can't send out the postcard that says, click here. Right? Like we talked about yesterday, the guy that just copied the website. So the postcard said, click here. It's like, I want to find out how much my home's worth. It's not working. Right? Or you put the phone number wrong, or you put your name wrong, or whatever the case is. I can't tell you how many times I've seen a website on there wrong. You have to deploy it the right way. So, I want you to imagine something for a minute. I want you to imagine that today, I said, I'll do a customized sales letter for you, and it's going to be for the individual niche that you want, and I'm not selling you this, by the way, but if I were, and I said it's $5,000, you guys agree that's a lot of money? So if you're not doing a lot of business, $5,000 might be everything. But imagine you can put stamps on them and get $20,000 a month. Tell me a better investment. Any financial advisor in the world that can say, yeah, I can get more than $240,000 a year for you if you give me the $5,000 to invest. Are you kidding me? That's how you get rich. Now, what if you only get $15,000 out of it every single month? Cost you $5,000 to do it. That's why I don't buy houses that will give me $1,000 a month in rent or $2,000 a month in rent. Why? Like that's not. It's better. Your numbers look good at the end of the year. You can show a profit, but what'd you put down on the house? $10,000? We can make that $80,000 next month. Try me. Let me give you a money-back guarantee if I'm involved on it. Like, we're going to make money. I guarantee you the $10,000 is not even going to come back as 12. And you can't do that with anything else that you're investing in. We've got agents in the room who spend $5. Imagine you spent $10,000 and what that would do for you. Okay, so again, if something costs you $5,000, you can put a stamp on it. It brings in $20,000 a month, or the online equivalent of that. If we're not doing sales letters or whatever the case is, if you're doing online, it works exactly the same way. So if you have $5,000 in your retirement account, how many of you have a retirement account, by the way? It's good to diversify a little bit. That's okay to have a retirement account. I know some of you have done really well with it. Krista's been very proud of what she's done here lately. She's made some big, big improvements. There's nothing better than seeing your net worth go up every year. You guys agree with that? I'm better this year than I was last year. When you start feeling that, you start to demand that, right? I was worth only $20,000 total. Now I'm worth $75,000. I was worth only $75,000. Now I'm worth $212,000. To see that every single year, that retirement account going up, your debt's going down, that feels really good. But if you have $5,000 in a retirement account and you're an investor that's as good as Warren Buffett, will never happen. Because he's been studying for, I think they said, 184 years. Right? At the end of the year, your $5,000 will be $5,600. He's averaging 12% or 13% or something like that. Your $5,000 will be $5,600 at the end of the year. How is that an investment? When we have, think of what you could do with $5,000 in buying that sales letter, putting stamps on it. All right? Provided that marketing asset's working for you. So, if you have $5,000 in your checking account and you decide not to invest it into deployable marketing assets, you'll simply use it for bills. That's going to cover you for 2 or 3 weeks, and then you're going to be dead broke again. We all been there before? right? So, man, I got $5,000 in my account. That's enough to cover me for 3 weeks to pay all my bills. And then at the end of 3 weeks, you're like, man, I need another $5,000 again. So it's not going to be a very good investment just sitting in a checking account. Our relatives from the Great Depression taught us this whole you should save money thing. Okay? So they came from scarcity. They came from the 5 neighbors need to share a loaf of bread, and what you're eating for dinner is a piece of bread. Right? I understand those were tough times. But because they did it that way doesn't mean that you need to do it that way now. What we were taught does not mean it's the best move. Trust me when my bank account tells you that because my mom said I should go to college and be a doctor or an attorney, that was horrible advice. Horrible advice. To go to college for anything, for me, was a horrible piece of advice. It doesn't mean you should do it because you're told you should. So this whole save money is total bullshit. If you have a savings account, you should close it immediately. It's not, I don't care what the rate of return is. If you had the biggest scam in the world, you would consider it a Ponzi scheme if it would pay you 18% a year. You agree with that? So $1,000 becomes $1,180, and that's such a good return that it's probably fake. Let's cancel it. Let's just get rid of it. There's somewhere you can put it. We've even shown investors, those of you who have followed me for a while, I've coached a lot of real estate investors. We've had 400 people in a room before. How many of you were in Columbus in the barn when I did one in a barn? 3 of you, 2 of you? Yeah, Andrew was there. So I had like 300 investors come in and I explained to them, you need to cancel your 401k and utilize it here. Well, but I'll get a 10% penalty. Yeah, but here's a better investment. Pay the fee. You're losing money. This is a bad deal for you. So if you have money sitting in a savings account, it's dead money. It's not doing anything. Don't give it to me. I don't want anything to do with it. Use it so you can multiply. If you got $5,000 sitting there, see how quickly you can turn it into 50,000. And start doing that by deploying these marketing assets. And we multiply our capital using whole numbers, not percentages. I don't want to do anything that gives me a 50% return on my money or a 70% return on my money. I do it in whole numbers. 100%, 200%, 500%, 1,000%. We're shooting for 1,000% 10 times. $5,000 goes out, $50,000 comes back. But I'm not doing this percentages thing, right? The small numbers, 10%, 50%. That's not going to get me where I need to be, especially if you're only starting with $1,000. Or you're only starting with $5,000. Let's be honest. How can you logically think you're going to get rich if you've only got $8,000 in your name? Like, I'm talking rich, millions of dollars. There's only one way you can do it. Deploy marketing assets. Because $8,000 can truly be 80, so now we have a kitty to work with. Now we've got something that we can multiply. And again, you may not get to that number, but I'd certainly shoot for it. Maybe we'll get halfway there. If you think like the poor and act like the poor, you too will be poor. You guys agree with that? Have you heard before that if you hang around with 4 broke people, you'll be the 5th? If you hang out with 5 rich people, 4 broke or rich people, you will be the 5th rich person. You are a product of your environment. When I was growing up in the industry that I was in the backside of the racehorse business, I had to get away from that stuff. I was telling a story to one of you the other night. I've got buddies that I've known. I'm starting to feel old now. I'm 42 years old. But when I was 15, 17, 18 years old, I've got buddies that I still know today. I just recently had a party at our camp house, I think a year ago, and flew all of them down. I think we flew 40 or 50 people down. And every one of them was in a position today. Remember, when I was 18, they were 18. When I was 22, they were 22. Every single one of them sent me a text message, hey dude, how are we going to cover this luggage fee? $30. I was happy that some of their airfare that I booked on Southwest because bags fly free. Okay? I'm thinking, well, can my little buddy get in the bag so I don't have to pay this? But honest to God, they don't have the $30. Same people from the same cloth, we worked in the same barn, but I'm the one that said, I'm getting the hell out of this. I'm going to get my real estate license. I'm going to figure out marketing. And every single day, I've told them, man, all you got to do, I'll help you. Like I coach people. This is what I teach now. No, man, that's not me. This is what I do now. I've decided I'm a loser. I've decided I'm going to, because today they make $450 a week. That's the actual number. At 42, 45 years old, been doing the same thing over and over. Now, that's an extreme example, but let's take real estate agents. I've been in this business 20 years this month. I know an awful lot of real estate agents that made $72,000 a year 15 years ago. And they still make $72,000 this year. That's the gross number, which means they have no money. You gross $72,000, you are poverty level by the time you figure all your expenses and everything else. That's no money. But they do the same thing over and over. If we look at, what'd you make in 2015? How about 16? How about 17? How about 18? It's like this much, and this much, and this much, and this much, and this much. It's the same damn number. So, until you realize, if you think like the poor, act like the poor, you will be poor. When you realize you think like the wealthy, act like the wealthy, you too will be wealthy. When you change that mindset, you'll get there. Because, by the way, one of those guys did follow. One of those guys did get the coaching. But that's literally out of 150 people that I knew when I was 15, 16, 17 years old. I've actually shown Amanda, I have pictures of me. When a horse wins, we go to the winner's circle. I have pictures of me with a lot of those guys that were at my party that are 40 and 50 years old now. I have pictures of us at 17 years old in the winner's circle together. And now they come to a 12,000 square foot mansion and don't have money for bags, and we came from the same place. We ate the same breakfast every day. My brother, we shared a room growing up. We ate the same food, we had the same parents, we went to the same school, we had the same teachers, we all had the same stuff. How in the world is he in his position and I'm in mine? This is a personal choice. By the way, he graduated. I didn't. Right? That's the problem, yeah. He learned the wrong way. So you have to start thinking the right way. When you go to sell your business, if all you have is past clients, it's worth nothing. Okay? We are not dentists or doctors where we're selling our patient list. We're selling our practice. Because if I sell my business here to CJ, how many of my past clients are going to call CJ in 3 years? Yeah, they don't even know who that is, right? Greg's retired now. Our realtor retired, is what they would say. So you're not really selling your past clients. It's worth nothing. If you have marketing assets, you will be wealthy. You can sell those a la carte. Here's my expired campaign. It brings in $150,000 a year. How much would you like to pay for this? 3 times earnings? Perfect. Here's my luxury home program. It brought in $217,000 last year. How much would you like to give for that? We'll give 4 times earnings for that. Great. Where's my $850,000? That's what you're selling here. That's how you sell a real business if you structure it correctly. Now, not everybody. Most people won't do that. Most people won't do it. But what you'll find is a lot of realtors become old, dried up, eventually become a team leader and stop selling, and then they're out of the business. Have you guys seen this before? Right? Or a title rep. So, you do not want to fall into that trap where you're selling. Eventually you get too old, you can't keep up with the spring chickens. You're doing it the way you've been doing it forever. You won't change for the new business model. You don't have any new marketing assets. And then all of a sudden, business is pretty much gone. Do I even want to do this anymore? Well, maybe I'll mentor some of these young ones. Right? So I want you to really think about that and developing marketing assets for yourself. Is that helpful for you to start thinking the right way?
Yeah.
Is that helpful to kind of get your mindset right on deploying those assets and really creating wealth for yourself? Okay, good. Any questions on that before we move on? Very good. How many of you are still sleepy or hungover? Jan, raise your hand. I was surprised. There was a beer left in the room, and Andrew was the last one to leave. I don't know what happened. So, what we're going to talk about now is how you can create your own 45-day hustle. Hey, I hope you enjoyed that video, and listen, we've got a lot more information for you to help you with growing your real estate business. We load new videos nearly every day, and I want you to have access. So you got to do two important things. It's both totally free. Number one, I want you to subscribe to this channel. You'll see the little subscribe button for you to click. If you don't have an account with YouTube, set it up. It's totally free. You got to subscribe to this channel. And the most important factor, you got to ring the bell. Right next to that subscribe button, you'll see a little bell to turn on notifications. That will let you know every time I load a new money-making video to help you with growing your real estate business. Subscribe and make sure you ring the bell. We'll see you in the next video.